Major themes in the Epistle to Philemon. The Epistle to Philemon, though brief, carries profound theological and ethical weight, revealing the transforming power of the gospel in personal relationships. Written by the Apostle Paul during his imprisonment, this letter centers on a delicate appeal concerning Onesimus, a runaway slave who had come to faith under Paul's ministry. What unfolds is not merely a personal request but a deeply layered expression of Christian love, forgiveness, reconciliation, and the redefinition of social relationships in light of Christ. One of the most prominent themes in Philemon is the transformative nature of Christian conversion. Onesimus, once described as unprofitable, becomes profitable both to Paul and to Philemon after his encounter with the gospel. This transformation illustrates the regenerating work of Christ in a believer's life. Paul does not appeal to Philemon on the basis of social obligation but on the reality that Onesimus is now a changed man, a beloved brother. The shift from uselessness to usefulness reflects the broader biblical teaching that those in Christ are made new, and this new identity has practical implications for how believers relate to one another. Closely tied to this is the theme of Christian brotherhood transcending social barriers. In the ancient world, the distinction between slave and master was rigid and deeply entrenched. Yet Paul gently but firmly urges Philemon to receive Onesimus no longer as a slave but more than a slave, a beloved brother. This appeal does not explicitly dismantle the institution of slavery in societal terms, but it radically redefines interpersonal relationships within the Christian community. Spiritual unity in Christ supersedes earthly hierarchies, echoing the broader teaching that in Christ there is neither slave nor free. The gospel introduces a new lens through which believers must view one another, grounded in shared identity in Christ rather than social status. Forgiveness and reconciliation also stand at the heart of the letter. Paul's intercession on behalf of Onesimus models Christ-like mediation. He offers to repay any debt Onesimus may owe, saying, "If he has wronged you or owes anything, put that on my account." This statement mirrors the redemptive work of Christ, who took upon himself the debt of sin on behalf of humanity. Paul's willingness to bear the cost highlights the sacrificial nature of reconciliation and points to the greater substitutionary work of Jesus. Philemon is thus called not merely to pardon but to fully restore Onesimus into fellowship, reflecting the grace he himself has received. Another significant theme is the appeal to love rather than authority. Although Paul acknowledges his apostolic authority and his right to command what is fitting, he deliberately chooses to appeal for love's sake. This approach underscores the voluntary nature of Christian obedience. True righteousness flows not from compulsion but from a heart transformed by love. Paul's tone demonstrates that Christian ethics are not enforced externally but arise from inward conviction shaped by the gospel. His confidence in Philemon's obedience, "Knowing that you will do even more than I say," suggests that genuine faith expresses itself in acts of generosity and grace that go beyond mere duty. The theme of partnership in the faith also emerges clearly. Paul refers to Philemon as a partner, indicating a shared participation in the work of the gospel. This partnership extends to how believers support and uplift one another. By asking Philemon to receive Onesimus as he would receive Paul himself, the letter emphasizes the interconnectedness of the Christian community. Believers are not isolated individuals but members of one body, called to bear one another's burdens and reflect Christ's love in tangible ways. Finally, the letter highlights the providence of God in human circumstances. Paul hints at a deeper divine purpose behind Onesimus's departure. "Perhaps he departed for a while for this purpose, that you might receive him forever." What may have appeared as a wrongful act is reframed as part of God's redemptive plan. This perspective encourages trust in God's sovereignty, even in situations marked by conflict or loss. It suggests that God is able to work through imperfect and even sinful circumstances to bring about reconciliation and spiritual growth. In its brevity, the Epistle to Philemon offers a compelling vision of how the gospel reshapes human relationships. It calls believers to see one another through the lens of grace, to practice forgiveness that mirrors Christ's sacrifice, and to live out a faith that transforms not only hearts but also the structures of everyday life.